Well, I'll start off by saying, number one, just super proud of our players, our coaches, our fans, everybody. This was one of my favorite team wins because it was so complimentary. I think you especially think of that third quarter just going back and forth. You know, we talked about last night in the team meeting. We talked about it all week long. This was going to be a fist fight in the back alley. And ironically, we're out here with that big fight last night, and I think you could kind of feel how that was going to go today. So our players just really stepped up to the plate when they needed to at big-time moments. And I just, you can't pick any one person out. Just everybody did a good job. I think there was signs of toughness throughout, signs of resiliency at the end of the game. You know, you go to special teams that need to make field goals to make it an 8-point game, and then to make it a 2-score game. Just across the board, everybody. Our coaches did a heck of a job of getting the guys ready. So I thought that all three coordinators did a phenomenal job. I mean, it was just listening to them on the headset, where they were, how calm they were, what they were seeing, how they were seeing it was great. So, a lot of credit to Oakland. I think we know what kind of football team they are. And it's just it's one of those black and blue games, you know. So with that, I'll go ahead and open up.
Matt, where you were 10 days ago, what have you learned about during the last 2 Sundays?
That we fight. It's plain and simple. I don't make it hard. I just make it real simple. And these guys, they fight. They don't care what's going on, other than it's a brotherhood. They talked about it in there. It's a brotherhood right now, and it's tight. These guys love each other, and when you love each other, man, you play hard for each other. It's crazy how that works, you know. So, and then what happens is you put yourself in an opportunity, you give yourself chances to win, and when you win, things get better, and then you start to get a little bit of momentum. But we've been through some tough times together, not just this year, but previous years. It's calloused us. It's made us tougher. But in the end, you get to see true colors of people. It reveals a lot about a lot of people. And I just know that locker room right now of the people that we have in there, it's real, it's authentic, and it makes it fun to coach.
Matt, what was going on with Fields in the first quarter? It looked like he was ill, maybe?
No, I mean, he just was out there. You know, you saw the hit he took. You know, and then went in, came back in, and then did the same thing later on. I mean, I just say this, that son Buck is tough. He is tough. He's proven that when he was in college. He proved it out here, and then same thing. With Andy being able to come in for that time that he was out and convert that third down. So there's so many pieces to this thing today. That's why I put it in one of those deals where it was fun to coach these guys.
Matt, you run the ball the way you did.
Yeah.
What did that do for you?
Well, it talks a lot to the offensive line and tight ends. It talks a lot to those running backs. It talks a lot to our coaches for getting those guys ready. I think you're starting to see I think you guys would probably agree there's a little bit of an identity going on right now. And so that's real. And how do you build off of that? I know, Demo is at home right now watching this, and he's proud. He's proud of these guys because he mentors these guys. And Damian Williams to step up, has 16 carries. Khalil Herbert to come in as a rookie and run the football like he did. That's impressive. Michael Petre's coaching the heck out of these guys. And when you have that running game, it certainly makes things a lot easier in a lot of different ways. I'll remind you that defense we played against today was pretty good, and they get after you. And you got to be careful with how much you get into drop backing, and because they don't need to blitz a lot. They play their stuff, and they get after you on the edge. So you got to be able to run it, and our guys did that.
Man, with regard to the running game, how does the emphasis on improving the running in the last 2 weeks? I mean, all the tight end usage, the extra blocker, the extra tackle. How much has that had an effect? How important has that been to this?
It's been very important for a lot of different reasons, and that's what I think is so neat to see is, I just think that Bill Lazor has done a phenomenal job at being able to come in here and get guys in a rhythm and be able to feel, who's hot and where we're at, and the other coaches on staff being able to help out. It's a group deal, so everybody included is what makes it special. And some of that stuff is where we feel like we have a strength. And, again, we get into the tight end targets every week, and I don't know which direction that's going to go, but I do know this. And I'm excited to watch it tonight on the plane ride, but I know those tight ends are blocking their butts off right now. And as much as it is for the O-line to help block, those guys need them.
You talk about that 3rd and 12 play,
Yeah.
Mooney over the middle, is that where it was designed?
Yep, it was. No, the play was designed to go there, depending on what we thought they were going to be in. And then we have some, different parts of the progression. But Justin has waited, all week. We kind of had that bad boy sitting there waiting for that moment. Now, I don't know if it's to win the game, but it's one of those crucial 3rd and 12s. That was a big-time play in that game. And if you don't get that now, the momentum meter swings to them big time. And so Mooney to get open, make a play. Justin went through his progression. The offensive line blocked. Justin made a great throw, and Mooney made a great catch, and it was first down.
Is that the best game? Is that the best game this season for your O-line? On the road.
Can you ask me that tomorrow when I watch it tonight? I would say it felt good to be able to have all those rushes. What was it, 37, 38 rushes for whatever it was. I think that it felt like we were rushing the ball for 5 yards a carry, and when you have that, it's huge. So I could say partly yes.
Now, back to the 3rd and 12. Are you expecting them to drop 8 there like that? And when they do, I mean, how hard of a throw does that become for Justin to thread it?
Yeah, the extra dropper can make it difficult when you have that drop 8. But at the same point in time, depending on where you're at with the levels of your throws, he stays within his progression. That's what he did. All the guys on that play did what they were supposed to do. Justin made his progression, stayed within it, and then you got to make the throw. You got to be able to see it, and he did that.
What have you thought of Justin's ability to adapt as a guy who's made his 3rd start? It's been choppy in some other parts of the offense the last 2 weeks. For him to be able to manage less than perfect situations
Sure.
at this stage.
Yeah, that's a big part of this. He's been able to grow. He's been able to. I think that's what we want to see is constant improvement, being able to play smart. That touchdown pass he had down there in that situation, to be able to give an opportunity and not throw it away because he wasn't open, right? But a lot of times that's what happens inside the 5 and 10 yard line in the red zone in this league. He made a great throw, and so that's growth for him. And I just think there's so much to take out of this situationally. The way he was able to get the guys in and out of the huddle, being able to even at the end of the game there was like 33 seconds on the play clock. And we wanted to, it was after the injury, we wanted to be able to milk the clock down and use everything. And I wasn't sure if we told him, but sometimes you get in a moment, he let that thing run the whole way down. You saw him standing there waiting. Those extra seconds matter. So there's a little bit of growth there for just that example.
You mentioned identity.
Yeah.
I mean, finally, I know that's been something you've been
Yeah.
for a little bit over the last couple of years.
Right.
To be finding it now, how encouraged are you? It's early in the year still.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to have that. And now what we got to do is make sure as we go through this identity and figure out where we're at, is now be able to grow with that, right? Because now teams start to see who you are, and they're going to have counter ways to come back and counter you and counterattack you. And I think that for us, we got to counter that. We always talk about you got to stay, keep them chasing the cat's tail, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important.
Man, last week the play calling was awkward for you. It just sounds like you seem like you're a little more comfortable with that dynamic now. Crediting with Bill and just are you just more at peace now? Have you kind of come to grips with it the last week and a half?
I just think when you go through everything that we're going through and you're able to kind of step back and figure out, okay, what's best for this team. Last week was my first time going through it, and I told you how good that felt after the game. And then same thing with today. I'm able to really interact with those guys on defense and special teams. And sometimes I'm running down to find out what the play call is on that first play of the drive because I'm still celebrating with the defense or talking to them. So it feels good, and I like that. I think, as a result, you're seeing what we're doing offensively, defensive, everything. And it's just, if I can be the best head coach by doing that, I'm going to do it.
You had 3 guys leave the game and not return.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hit
After,
that. Sorry about that. Yeah, we had a Fetty with a knee. We had Caleb Johnson with a knee and a Tachu with a pec. So we'll find out tomorrow a little bit more about them. But those are the 3 guys. Sorry.
Matt, how's doing initial tests? With
Go ahead.
Khalil,
Okay.
The London game for Khalil was, that was tough, obviously.
Yeah.
Could you tell at all? I know it's hard to tell sometimes from where he's at, but could you tell how much of that, what did you kind of see from him today?
Well, it was tough for all of us because you go back to that game as good as it feels right now after this game today, right now, the type of game we played, that feels good. It didn't feel like this in London. It felt the opposite. And, when you got to fly the whole way home from London with that feeling in your stomach, you remember that. I don't care what anybody says, you remember that. And so, he was a part of that, and he understands that. So I think all of our guys, we talked about, it's the mindset of making sure our guys know that we weren't coming in here to play, this was going to be a fight. and he knew that. And so Khalil's in a leadership role to make sure the other guys see how you play in this moment, and he did it today.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks with the Bears fans coming out of Cleveland. Everything was going on there. What's it mean to you when you see them take over a road stadium all the way across the country?
Are you kidding me? I mean, you look out there, you go out before the game, and then you go out at halftime, and then you come in the locker room at the end of the game, and all you see is just orange, right? You see orange everywhere, and it gives you chills when you're coming off the field because you know how much support they have for us. And they were a huge part of this win today. We talk about how well we travel, and it's amazing all over the country when we go to certain spots. But today it felt you could really, I mean, it was impactful. And so I think it's a beautiful win for everybody. They're a huge part of that. And anytime you can run off the field winning like that and you have the fans there waiting for you, it's pretty cool.
Are you guys doing any additional tests or evaluating on Fields' knee, or do you feel pretty confident since he was able to go back in that everything's solid?
Yeah, we're just, again, his toughness was great. It was awesome. So that's all. I think that's the number one thing I'm taking out of this is his toughness.